We all know someone who is going through a hard time right now. You can think of them, right? So how do you encourage someone going through a hard time? That's the question we're going to look at in this video. Welcome to our little corner of the internet. Take a moment to introduce yourself in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you are back, again, a big fat welcome to you. I'm always so glad to see you're here, however you get to the show, right? Now, my name is Matt Edmondson, and this is Between Sunday, a show that looks at trying to find Jesus-focused answers to our everyday life journey questions. So let's picture this, right? Picture the scene. It's a sunny, calm day, and you are happy just watching the world go by through the train window that you're on as it travels mile after mile down the tracks. You're happy. All is right with the world, and you have peace. And in your pocket, you kind of feel that familiar buzz. So you reach down and pull out your phone to see the text message. And you pick up your phone and you see, oh, it's from a friend, a really good friend, and you're excited to hear from them. You always are, right? So you unlock the phone and you open the message to read it. And it starts with this. It says, "My wife has just been diagnosed with breast cancer." Your heart sinks as you carry on reading. Your heart breaks, in fact. What should you say in that situation? What do you say to someone whose world has just collapsed? Well, I got that text message a few years ago, and I'd never really been in a situation like this before. So I prayed for them, and I prayed for the words to say to them. And I had just a few characters that I could use in that text message. So I wrote the following: "This is rubbish, but it is not the end." Only I didn't use the word rubbish, if you know what I mean. It was all kinds of messed up for them. They were a young couple thrown into the middle of a horrific situation. And I needed to acknowledge that. And by saying it was rubbish, that's exactly what I did. But I also believe that it wasn't the end. And part of the joy of the Christian faith is that there is always, 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 always hope. Now, if you don't know who we are, we're a digital church, and every Sunday we do a live stream. But then church happens between Sundays, right? So we also do this show between Sunday. And in last Sunday's live stream, I asked a very simple question. Who encourages you to do the stuff that scares you? But more importantly, who do you encourage? Who do you encourage? And I said at the start, right, we all know someone that needs encouragement. Someone you know is more than likely going through a hard time right now, right? Literally about 10 minutes ago, before recording this video, I got a message that someone really close to me has just had a serious heart attack. I know someone else who's recently lost their job. Someone else has just been going through the heartbreak of a relationship breakup and divorce. Someone else I know is suffering from debilitating fear and anxiety. I mean, the list could go on, right? And that's before I look in the mirror and think about all the battles that I'm facing myself. But then this is not about me, right? It's about that other person, the person that you are thinking of. It's about them. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to go get a piece of paper, and I want you to grab a pen, and I want you to write them a letter, right? You are going to encourage them. You are going to build courage inside them. That's what encouragement is. That's what you're going to do, and you're going to do it in a letter, not an email, not a text message, an actual handwritten letter, a note written with your own hand. Now, it might be a while since you have done this, right? But given that the world we live in, it will make a big difference, right? So let's give it a try, a handwritten note. And I'm going to suggest that you use my text message as your template, right? And the template is this: it is rubbish. Let's acknowledge what's going on, but it is not the end. In other words, let's bring some hope. Now, I wish I could take credit for this template, but I can't, right? If you were with us on Sunday, you will have read with us that Jesus, in the passage that we looked at, used this exact same template with his disciples. The story goes that Jesus took them to a private place. He took the disciples to a private place. We're not going to a private place. We're going to write a letter. And Jesus, in that place, he outlined the brutal facts of what they were facing. He didn't pretend that it didn't exist. He didn't ignore them. He didn't use platitudes to address them. It wasn't a question of faith or prayer, or even how good the people were or were not, right? It was just gonna get rubbish, and Jesus acknowledged this. This is honesty and it is empathy. But we don't just leave it there, right? Empathy is great, but on its own, it never really changes anything. Empathy kind of gets you to look at life through your friend's eyes, right? You see it is bad. You see that it is not going to be solved by a clever one-liner on a post-it note, as much as you'd like it to be. Empathy, in effect, stops you being a jerk, right? But it never really changes anything other than how you see life. And now you see it differently. You see it through their eyes. So then what? We acknowledge that. We write that. We put ourselves in that place. But we don't leave it there. We offer hope. The unwavering belief that things can and will get better. Because that's what Jesus did. Not even death itself would be the end for Jesus. There was the resurrection, and that's what he talked about. He said it's going to get bad. There's going to be torture. There's going to be death. But 3 days later, he will rise again. And he talked about that. He talked about the hope in the horror. There is always hope. There is always resurrection. We just have to find it, right? And you know what? As I sit and think about that text message that I wrote all those years ago, my friend still talks to me about it. He talks about that text message that I sent to him and how it helped them because it was real, but it also offered hope. And that, in my opinion, is how we encourage people, right? Going through a tough time. We're gonna write them a letter. So write your letter to them. It doesn't have to be long, but it does have to be real, and it does have to contain hope. Let them know that you are in it with them, fighting with them, loving on them, and then send your letter. Actually get a stamp, put it on the envelope and send it to them and mail it out. Put it in the post box, right? Just do it. And then tell me what happens. I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear the story about what goes on. Listen, if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out Sunday's live stream. I'm going to put a link to it in the description, and I would love it if you would like this video, subscribe, and even comment on it. It'd be great to hear from you. Go out and encourage someone who is going through a tough time, and let me know what happens. I'll see you in the next one.